This video falls under fair use. If there is a problem with my video, please contact me. Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts back once again, another reaction for you guys. Today guys, of course, you're continuing the journey of Ben 10 Alien Force. This is Ben 10 Alien Force Season 2, Episode 5, titled, of course we won't know until we get into the episode. So last week's episode, real fast before we dive in, because I had a lot to say there at the beginning of this video. Last week's episode, Ben became a mom. That is just insane for me to say. I'm still trying to process all that happened, because it was a great reveal, like in terms of like, oh, it's a positive kind of reveal, because they were kind of teeing up a little bit, and even Ben mentioned it, and Gwen mentioned it by name, Ghost Freak, that this happened before in Ben 10, the original series, where something like this happened in terms of Ghost Freak and everything, and was taking over the Omnitrix, and of course escaped the Omnitrix, and of course became a villain of this series. But they were kind of teeing up that maybe Big Chill's kind of the same way, because when Ben turns to him at the beginning of the episode, he starts eating on a car, and then he doesn't remember what's happening. He's kind of blacking out when he's turning. And then when Julie's trying to help him, he goes jet ray, and then immediately to Big Chill. He's eating a bunch of metal and then drinking lava and shit. And then here comes the babies. It's like, what the hell? But they have some information because Kevin lays out, you know, this is why it happened or whatever. And the babies fly away. And they were adorable. And we may never see them again. I hope we do in some sort of way. I have no idea how. But it would just be interesting. And look, it is odd, but at the same time, this show, like, was teeing up something that may be really bad in terms of, like, oh, shit, like, we're leading to something bad here because Big Chill is kind of taking over, you know, Ben's control. Because the last time we turned to Big Chill, before the baby reveal, he was just standing there talking to Julie, and all of a sudden he just turns and then just hits and then just goes. So it's like, oh, shit, like, Big Chill's taking control, but it's like Big Chill's pregnant. So it's crazy, but yeah, Ben's a mom. That's crazy. So I'm ready to get this episode, guys. I'm really enjoying the show. Crazy thing happened last week, but I love the fact that the show surprises me, and that's what ultimately matters at the end of the day. Here we go, episode 5 of season 2. Let's go.
This is a very bad idea. I mean, we don't even know how to work a teleporter pad.
Didn't you used to turn into an insect all the time?
Yes.
That was different.
Ooh.
It's too hot.
Oh shit.
Take the heat.
Nice. What were they? I guess they were just trying to test it or whatever.
Everyone
That
right?
went bad.
Get that? I'll bring Cooper over from his lab. Cooper?
Cooper?
Pasty Kid? He helped us out once back when we were kids. You should have told us you knew him.
I remember.
Didn't exactly come
Yeah.
up. If you're so smart, why didn't you think of him before?
Good point.
Okay, that's a fair point.
It's fair point.
Let's
Yep.
go. Excited to see your ex?
Zip it.
Zip it.
You had to mention the crush.
I mean, if he never leaves the lab, why would he leave now?
Yeah. No!
Got it. I can take us right to Cooper.
In
Nice.
other words, you're attracted to him.
Can we just go? My powers are not screwed up. My
No,
instincts are
I
telling
think
me
he is
Cooper's
there.
definitely
Yeah.
nearby.
You have got to see this.
What? My God.
3 of those weather control
Yeah.
towers.
It makes sense that Cooper was taken. If he can manipulate alien DNA, it benefits them.
With that shield up, these guys don't have to worry about anyone seeing them building
Exactly.
whatever
Whoa.
that thing is.
You know who'd be beneficial right at this moment? Gray matter. If Bing turned to gray matter, that'd be really helpful at this moment. Gotta sneak around. Gotta be careful. Looks like a cell type thing. So yeah, he's probably in there.
Why don't we just yell out, "Hey Cooper," and if there's 4,000 DNA aliens behind that door, good plan.
I don't think so.
Cool, but gross.
Oh shit. That was intentional. Yep, yep. Hello, I'm Goop.
Gwen, you totally came to my rescue.
Yes, Gwen, yes.
Yeah, excellent work there, Gwen. We can't stay long. We
Yeah, we gotta
outside
go.
the shield before they realize Cooper's missing.
Like how Princess Elena rescued me last week from the caverns of unforgiving dismay.
Excuse me?
It's the biggest DNA alien plan we've ever seen, and as long as
Yeah.
their cloaking shield's up, they can work 24/7.
Sooner or later, they're bound to spot us.
Yeah, but
That's
you
not a problem
gotta
either.
stop them, you know?
Because
The field it generates is enough to cover all of us. If we
How
squeeze
convenient.
together real tight.
Oh boy.
For the love of...
I don't feel invisible.
That looks cool.
Follow me.
That's pretty cool.
Hey, Coop, think about it. The damsel rescued you. Now you get to...
Kevin, just stop messing. Come on.
There's always a few bugs in a prototype.
What are they doing here?
Oh, what do you think they're doing here?
Don't worry. I'll just...
You shouldn't have said it. You should have just did it.
There's too many of them!
Keep firing, Gwen!
Yeah.
You're our only chance!
You're going back to work for us.
I won't do
course.
anything for you.
Is that what you want, human? For your friends to pay?
Get your hands off her. I'll do it. I'll do anything.
Now you can go all Humongosaur and get us out of here.
Yeah.
Humongosaur wouldn't last against all those DNA aliens.
Oh, come on. You could try.
Hey, there's no bathroom in here, and I really have to go.
I really have to go. Open the door, please. Oh! Oh! Team effort! That's awesome! Figure it out. Oh, again? Here we go. You just screwed him up! They suck. They're like stormtroopers. I can't aim.
Stay behind me, Cooper!
Damn.
Just keep heading for where they're building that arch.
I mean, that makes sense.
What is it?
Oh! Whoa! I don't think I've ever seen it do that before.
We don't want to arouse suspicion from the local authorities.
You're already exposed, though.
Project at hand is too important.
Someday soon, we're going to have to go back. Can we count on you to help?
Anything you need.
Don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, deed to the land, construction permits, everything looks shipshape. Still don't know who'd want to build a mall all the way out here. Oh, our company's very forward-thinking.
Continue to work. The time of cleansing is nearly at hand.
Cleansing. And there you guys have it. And what a very interesting episode of Ben 10 Alien Force, because what Cooper saw, by the way, Cooper in the episode, that's interesting, right? We'll get to that in a minute. But what Cooper saw at the end of his visions was something we haven't seen, because they were showing a lot of footage we've already kind of seen in terms of the DNA aliens and the different things that the team has been on so far in terms of different things that have happened and the hybrids and all that kind of stuff. But then we saw some extra stuff that we haven't seen before. Ships, looks like giant ships flying through a portal, and then what looks like the destruction of Earth or something. There's a plan, and the whole thing of the cleansing, I think that what they're meaning is taking out the planet. I think that's what the hybrid is referring to there. So, Cooper was in the episode from the original Ben 10 series. He is back and still crushing on Gwen. Very hard, by the way, crushing very hard on Gwen. And Ben mentioned this little moment because at the beginning of the episode, they were working on that portal, whatever that Ben and that hybrid went through at the beginning of this season. I think it was the beginning of season 2? I think it was the first episode. But they went through, so they were testing it on a banana, and they ran the machine, and it malfunctioned, and they had to destroy it. But then, like, okay, so I know a guy. Kevin's like, I know a guy. Like, Kevin, how many people do you know? And he even references, I might know some more people you don't even know that I know. But he's like, I know a guy. I know a guy, Cooper. Like, Cooper? And they're like, wait, that guy? Like, wait a minute. We know Cooper. We met Cooper. He helped us out. And then Kevin throws it back at him because Ben's like, why didn't you bring him in before? Because we've been dealing with alien technology and all that kind of stuff, and DNA aliens, which I know for the longest time I was saying DNA aliens, so I'm trying to say DNA aliens, get that correct. But Ben's like, why didn't you bring this up before? And Kevin's like, well, if you know Cooper too, why haven't you brought him up before? Point. Fair point. That was a good little moment back and forth. So they go to his lab. He's not there. Kevin says he never leaves his lab. He never leaves. Then we find that he's at the base that they went to in season 1 where Professor Paradox was, where the portal was used before in that flashback, and then the creation of Professor Paradox and all that kind of stuff, and then his sidekick, his helper or whatever, I forget his name, became that like alien that was like rushing around the base and shit and aging up things. It was crazy, right? Because he aged up Kevin and the car as well. So there's a lot of crazy stuff that happened in that episode. But we went back there because they were using that base as their base of operations, and they had Cooper, when they stole him, to create a cloaking device that captures the whole base to seem like it's just still deserted as is. But then they go through the portal. They have 3 weather machines that they have built. 3, and a gigantic arc that's a part of the transporter device, whatever they called it. They've been working on this for quite some time. And Cooper has been forced to create things and stuff. And he's really powerful with his abilities because he's sitting there floating shit and putting it all together and everything. And then, of course, him taking apart the gigantic cloaking device and just unraveling it and everything and using his powers. Like, it's really cool to see that. But they're really pushing ahead with whatever their plan is, right? This cleansing, and I'm assuming based off what Cooper saw, as I mentioned, seems like they're going to be bringing forth their entire army. And that's the whole point of the weather system, because it's pretty clear these DN aliens and hybrids prefer the cold. And I think even, because I'm pretty sure the hybrid in the episode where Ben and him got stuck on that planet that was really reminiscent of Tatooine from Star Wars, Dune, is it Arrakis? Is that the name of the planet? I'm blanking this morning. But you get what I'm saying. So I'm pretty sure the hybrid mentioned that cold is what he prefers. He prefers colder climates. That's the whole point of these weather systems, these weather machines. Now, what was interesting is we've seen these machines being used before in this sequel series. But when I first saw the snow, for some reason this morning, when I first saw the snow when they went through the cloaking device, the mirror image, if you will, of the deserted place, the deserted army base, and we see the snow, my first thought was, ooh, another Christmas episode? Because in the original classic Ben 10, they found a way to incorporate some sort of Christmas, type episode without in the desert, and they go through the doors, and there's Christmas land or Santa land or whatever. I was like, oh, Santa? Like, that was my first thought for some reason. Because even though people dislike that episode, I actually, thought it was interesting. I was like, oh, it's a little bit different. It's a different type of Ben 10 episode, and I really appreciate the differences and everything. That's why I overall, even though it was weird, liked that they really surprised us with last week's episode when Ben became a mom. It was really shocking, it's odd, it's weird and shit, but at the same time, it makes Ben 10 stand out as a more unique show, because they're giving us some really weird stuff we thought never would happen. Ben becoming a mom, what? So, they saved Cooper, and I feel like they were really, really, really pushing it a little too far with Cooper just overly, just comparing Gwen to some princess or something in some sort of game he's playing, an MMO or something. But Kevin's teasing a lot as well, because Ben brought it up, so Kevin's teasing Gwen and Cooper and everything about, how Cooper is really infatuated with Gwen and all that kind of stuff. He's really just hamming it on. But then Cooper goes, well, I created that gigantic, cloaking device. I have a prototype, a small one, so they used it for a little bit. And I like the design and how they kind of showed how they were invisible. We can kind of tell who is who. That was kind of cool of a visual aesthetic to kind of see that, because usually when people are invisible, you literally don't see them at all. Like, they're completely see-through, and you can't see anything of them. You just hear the voices whenever they do like animated series when people turn invisible or whatever. They're completely invisible. But in this, you see the outline of them, but they're invisible to everybody else, but we can see what they're doing. So it kind of gives a little bit more of a different look to the invisibility cloak aesthetic. Of course, it breaks and everything. They get captured right away. They're overwhelmed. Instead of Ben going, okay, I'll use the Omnitrix, he gets captured. Just turn. Just hit the Omnitrix. Just turn. Ben, don't say you're going to do it. Just do it. Okay, you're in the thick of the moment. You have all these DNA aliens. DN aliens coming after you. You're all surrounded. Just go. Of course he doesn't. Now, they were not prepared, because they threw them into some sort of just room, right, with metal and shit. And they I guess they didn't realize that they can easily break out of here. Now, I'm pretty sure they could have knocked down the door, but they got the door to unlock because Gwen's like, I need to use the bathroom. So Kevin, I forget what metal it was, but he absorbed some sort of metal that I think is like it's like a bronze, kind of gold-esque thing, and then Ben turns into Echo Echo, and so Gwen hits Kevin with his metal, and he's shaking, like vibrating, and then Ben uses Echo Echo's, what I call the silent scream. People are like, silent scream, because I've said that before, but it's that idea of like a super high-pitched sonic scream, so I called it a silent scream. I know it sounds dumb, but that was just in my head. It just happened in the moment when it first happened, and it makes the damage and the shock wave of the scream even more because of the vibration and everything from Kevin. So it's a kind of cool team up. Gwen starts the process, and Kevin shaking, and then boom, here comes the scream. So that was a cool thing. They used it a couple times. Kevin obviously didn't like it because he probably felt uncomfortable, like shaking and shit. But, you know, hey, it was a cool little team up moment, you know, and it reminded me for some reason, there's been a lot of team up in different shows or whatever, but it immediately reminded me of in Age of Ultron, where Thor and Cap like worked together, where Thor slammed his hammer onto Cap's shield, and then the vibration wave of that hitting some enemies at the opening of the movie. I don't know why, like that teamwork kind of, it's interesting because we haven't really seen them really working together like that, where they were using all their powers in like kind of building up a momentum of boom, like a big explosion or something. So I thought it was kind of cool to see that team up there. So then we see, of course, they take out the device, the invisibility cloak, and then there's a truck driver who sees, and and I wasn't prepared for how massive the actual like base of it was when like the cloaking device like falls off, and he looks over and sees all the gigantic 3 weather machines in the Ark, how massive it was. Cop shows up later on, kind of like whenever they get away, because I was like, okay, I thought the episode was over when they were driving away, right? I thought the episode was just done because they weren't being chased. But the hybrid's like, no, we're not going to chase them. But you know, it is what it is. No one's, you know, people need to know what's going on out here. It's like, but something's going to happen. And then we cut to the officer with that truck driver talking to some construction workers on a mall. Like, and the cop's like, I don't know why your employers are like wanting to build a mall out here, like out in the middle of nowhere. And it's like, maybe they should have had a better cover than a mall, but whatever. But the thing is too, there's no proof of concept. I think it was the hybrid that was kind of doing all the talking as the guy. He was saying, oh, we've been out here for months working. And if you look around, it's all obviously cloaked up now. But if you just see what is the abandoned army base, there's no work been done. So they've been out there for months doing what? So they should have found a better cover, but whatever. But then the whole cleansing and everything. So, and Cooper, it seems like we're going to see Cooper again, because they made a point to say we got to go back there eventually, because based on what was said by Cooper in terms of he saw things and everything, and then realizing that this is major, like this is different than what we've kind of seen before, where the DNA aliens and the hybrids are working underground or away from where no one can see them. Now they're kind of more out in the open with a cloaking device, but still they're out at this army base that was used, where the original portal was used and everything, and Professor Paradox was, you know, created and everything. They're out there building, and this is more intense because it's not just one weather machine that they're constructing. They've already constructed 3 of them, and they have an Ark already built in place, and they're still doing construction on bringing these ships through. So they got to go back. So I'm excited. Oh, I'm excited. I'm loving this show. I'm loving this show. I want to thank you guys so much for supporting the videos, and I do want to say, even though this is really late in the video, if anybody's still watching, I do want to also kind of apologize for mentioning in the intro about the whole copyright issues I'm kind of dealing with what happened last week with the Ben 10 becoming a mom, with Ben becoming a mom episode, because that was blocked the day after it got uploaded, and I needed to say something about it, because it was quite frustrating, because literally it was like the video falls under fair use. I use less footage than I normally use in that video, and for them to come after me like that is ridiculous. So yeah, I just needed to say something about it. But anyways, what do you guys think of the episode of Ben 10 Alien Force? I'm curious to know your thoughts about this episode, guys. Whatever thoughts you have, please let me know in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out.